Hey guys, it's me, Ben, back with another review for BXB. And let me just first of all say this. I love the fact that we are getting such a crazy selection of indie games now on consoles. I love programs such as Idea Xbox and the PS4 and how they're just putting games out that you'd probably never get on a console if this openness of the console development hadn't happened a couple of years ago. And with that, we've received here Battle World Kronos by King Art Games, which is a port of a PC game of a turn-based strategy game in the vein of, say, an Advanced Wars. And it's come onto the consoles in the last week or so, and I played it pretty thoroughly. I wanted to like this game a lot more than I did. I'm just going to be honest from the sort of the get-go here. I love strategy games. It's where I got into gaming when I was a young guy, when I was in my early teens. I mean, before that, it was in PC, it was turn-based strategy games, and then it was RTSs as well. So I always get excited to see a game such as this turn up on a console, even though invariably they don't work. And this is another case of it not working, sadly. I think the biggest problem here is that the guys at King Art Games, it's a small team, it's an indie team, there's obviously not a lot of money here, and the game lacks polish in almost every department. From performance problems to a bland aesthetic, sad to say, to bad UI design, to a complete lack of music throughout most of the game, to poor storytelling. That might have been a lost in translation issue. I don't believe King Art Games is based in a native English speaking territory. So I think those guys, this translation has happened here. But even beyond this lack of polish, if there's a great core experience, there's enough to love there. And while the turn-based sort of aspects of the game and the strategy work fine, the units feel balanced, there's a total obfuscation of how units work, and a sort of a Dark Soulsian desire on the part of the developer for you to just learn through trial and error, through a minimalistic tutorialization of the experience. It even tells you up front, you're gonna suck basically, but you're gonna be amazed at how good you get once you've played a lot more of the game. And it's true, you do improve once you have to learn how everything works. But I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I think I like a console experience to be a bit more upfront. Maybe on PC I'd be more forgiving, and then maybe that's unfair of me. But on the console, the counter experience, I think it should have been a little bit more easy to understand and grasp some of the mechanics and how the units work, and just some of the basic ways of interacting with the units. There were times when some of the bear tutorials were telling me to do something that I should know how to do, but I'd never been told how to do it. So that in a way told me that I need to work out how to do something. Again, kind of Dark Soulsian in its in the experience I was having. That this sort of trial and error, this sort of hashing it out through experience rather than being told up front. And I think that works with certain games. It certainly works with Dark Souls, though I might not be the biggest fan. But I'm not sure it works as part of a turn-based strategy experience. The other problem I had with this, unlike saying Advance Wars, with the lengths of the games. Now each match, each campaign stage, of which that's all there is. There's very little in the way of options of gameplay here. It's very bare bones. But in each stage, they took a great deal of time, approaching an hour or more. And that's just not a conducive experience to the console. You could save at any time, I believe, but I don't know, it just felt like everything was taking a really long time, moving around, positioning my units, the combat phases, the AI phases. Everything seemed to take for ages, and it just didn't seem to work for me on console. I don't think necessarily Battle Worlds Kronos here is a bad game. I just think it's a game that could do with more work. I think the studio's definitely got some promise here, and I'd love to see them and take another shot at turn-based strategy and another shot at doing it on console, because I'd love to see more games like this on console. The only one that's ever really comes to mind as working perfectly was Advanced Wars, but it's a very simplified form of the experience, whereas I feel this game is going the whole hog to give you that PC experience on console, and it just didn't work out for me. But it's not all bad. And if you can get it at a good price, I think it's definitely worth trying out if you want to scratch that strategy itch. I give Battle Worlds Kronos a solid, though not remarkable, 6 out of 10.